Hello, my name is Adriana Torres Cruz, and I'm a first-year graduate student here in the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. In this presentation titled The Crow Complex, I'll be exploring the image of the crow as a personal symbol and its role in my life and art. But before we get into that, let me share a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and as the image shows, that's my great-grandfather's house in the town of Barranquitas, where my family is from. I was a fussy kid that grew up to be a fussy adult. Not a lot has changed. I still have an interest in nature, drawing animals, and collecting rocks. I'm always caught up in details, yet somehow I'm a bit careless with the execution. I don't like surprises or changes in plans unless I am the one making said changes. As an example, here's a picture of me as a kid looking angry because they gave me the wrong instrument for the school recital. I don't remember what the original instrument was supposed to be, but I do know it wasn't the maracas. Truly unforgivable from their part. But life is about changes, and I had to learn that early on. Originally, I wanted to be a paleontologist or a veterinarian, but after a wake-up call, I realized that if I wanted to make it out alive, I needed to pursue what made me happy and most importantly, gave me a proper outlet. So I decided to study art. For undergrad, I went to MICA for illustration, and in 2018, I graduated with a BFA in printmaking. After graduating, I returned home and worked as a freelance illustrator and also as a print shop and artist assistant to a local artist. Now, for the good part, or at least the part I care about, the crows. We have a saying back home, no es fácil la vida en el trópico, which roughly translates to, life in the tropics isn't easy. You're probably thinking, what does that have to do with crows? And, well, let me tell you. This phrase is actually quite accurate for the species I want to be talking about. The Caribbean is home to 4 species of crow. Yep, crows aren't just reserved for the gallows, they also hang around in palm trees. Puerto Rico, specifically, used to be home to 2 crows. The extinct Puerto Rican crow and the extirpated and endangered white-necked crow. The white-necked crow still hangs around in La República Dominicana, but was declared extinct in Puerto Rico quite a few decades ago. I myself didn't know it existed until I saw one back in 2019 in Barranquitas. The sight of that bird would not leave my mind. And it wasn't until 2021 that I was able to identify it. Corvus leucocnaphalus, the largest of the Caribbean crows. It has cadmium red eyes, its diet is almost strictly fruit, and it's solitary by nature. But most importantly, it sings like a parrot. Quite the odd bird, even for crow standards. The image of this bird followed me everywhere, even in my sleep. Many of my dreams will have a pair of crows always following and watching. One of them would approach me, and the other one would keep its distance. But while that was happening in my mind, in the real world, I was starting to make work with the imagery of native weeds, specifically the plant morivivi. I died and I lived, or more commonly known as sensitive plant or shame plant in English. A curious weed that closes up its leaves when touched. It's also covered in thorns. It has a lot of built-in defense mechanisms, and because of that, I saw a lot of myself in this plant. It was only natural for me to combine these 2 characters in my work. The plant as a representation of my maladaptive behavior, and the crow as a self that is trying to survive, going against its nature, believing that holding on to the plant or being entangled by it would save them. Crows are a very symbolically charged entity. I say entity because the crow as a concept has overridden the crow as a real animal. We don't see them as an animal, but as a reflection of our cultural beliefs, our greatest fears, a reminder of mortality and the unknown. A powerful symbol, a bit confrontational too, and yet in my work I don't see it as such. All-powerful crow is reduced to a pathetic thing, a victim entangled by all the worst parts of my psyche, which confuses me because they are one of my favorite animals. This is where the complex comes into play. A complex, as coined by Carl Jung, is a structure in the psyche that groups together experiences, perceptions, and behaviors based on a common theme, more specifically, a shared emotion. In my case, the crow ties together all of these unseemly, unrelated perceptions and realities of myself, and allows me to explore them from a safe distance. Just like in alchemy, the crow is decay, the shadow brought to the surface, is destined to die and rot to allow transformation to take place. The crow complex is neither good nor bad. It's part of my process as an artist and as a person. It's a teacher, a guide, and a martyr, a willing sacrificial lamb that keeps reviving when something needs to be addressed and dealt with in my life. Thank you.